Let us take this moment now to center ourselves right here, right now, and we call on that presence of Spirit that is with us always. That we know this Spirit, we feel this Spirit in every breath that we take. For surely this presence is here, in this place, in this moment, and we allow ourselves to open to the beauty, to the joy that is present in this moment, as this moment is the expression of Spirit through each one of us. For this opportunity to come together as the joy of Spirit, we say thank you, God. Amen.
Good morning. The word for today is understanding, and the affirmation, with understanding, my spirit is always cool. One of the best ways to remain calm in any agitating circumstance is to practice understanding. Seeking to understand gives me information and insight and eases my reactivity. It keeps my emotional thermostat dialed down if I am tempted to lose my cool. Perhaps poet Rudyard Kipling was referring to understanding his poem If, when he wrote of the importance of keeping your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Properly mastered, my power of understanding gives me the strength and presence of mind to be a beacon in times of trouble or crisis. Whatever this day may bring, I will carry the light of understanding with me. I am cool in spirit. I am understanding. In the scripture from Proverbs 17:27, one who is cool in spirit has understanding. The word for today, understanding.
I would like to invite you. I would like to invite you to say the dedication as we dedicate these tithes and offerings. These tithes and offerings are dedicated to the will and work of Spirit through Unity of Joplin for the highest good of all. And now we'll have a special song by Gary and Jerry, Peace is Flowing Like a River. Well, maybe not that one. I don't know. The greatest thing? Okay. And then after that, we will have Reverend Hutchins up for our meditation and lesson.
Thank you so much. Now is the time in our service for our meditation. This is our opportunity to let ourselves become fully present. So I invite you, if it is comfortable for you, to close your outer eyes or perhaps soften your gaze and just gently looking down, allowing yourself to release any external tensions. Notice if you're holding anything in the body. If you're holding tension in your shoulders, gently roll them out or roll your neck. Adjust your hips and your seat if you're feeling tension in the hips. Taking a moment to honor the physical body allows us to then let it be at rest, to let the body find this moment of peace and sink into it. With a nice deep inhale, feel the breath, release any other tension in the body. And exhale, maybe with a sigh. Feel the peace in the body. And we gently release the body in our awareness, knowing that it is safe and secure right here, right now, as we bring our awareness inward to our inner being, to the seat of spirit within us. We breathe into the heart space allowing ourselves to feel lightened, to feel a sense of peace, to know that in this space we are one with the presence of the Lord. And with each breath, we deepen our awareness of this presence that is breathing us, this presence that is breathing all around us, as we experience this presence of life, of love, of joyous living. We allow ourselves to continue to breathe into the heart space, deepening our awareness, deepening our knowing that love resides here. We breathe here as we rest into a moment of silence, connecting with this awareness within, connecting with the love, the divine center of our being. Gently breathing into this space and exhaling into the silence. With the next breath, begin to gently bring your awareness from your heart space, the greater knowing of your being, and bringing your awareness back to your body, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes. Flutter your eyes open and become awareness of all those around you in this room, those who are joining us online, as we connect one-to-one in that heart space of love. Together we affirm, I am divine love in expression. I am divine love in expression. And so it is. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I am Reverend Jen Hutchins, and Marilyn, absolutely no problem. You have no idea how many variations of Hutchins come in the mail for me. So Hutchins son, Hutchins sing, Hutchinses. So it's all cool. I respond to all of them. It's all the divine me expressing in different ways. That's what I'm going to go with that. So thank you for having me here. For those of you who don't know me, which is about everyone except for one person in the room, I am the founder of Unity Arts Ministry. Yes, it is a thing. And we focus on helping people to tap into creativity as part of their path for spiritual living. So that is my dedication, that is my passion, that is my joy. And of course, it wouldn't be me without weaving a little bit of creativity into my talk, so pardon me, it has to come. It comes with the package, so you'll get a little bit of that today as well. So joy, right? Living our joy, living into joy, that is the theme of my talk today. In fact, my title for the talk is Le Joie de Vivre, which is French. Sounds fancy, right? Pretty much it means the joy of living. The joy of living. And I recently had the opportunity to lead an art retreat in France. Ooh la la, yes. Yes. This is my first time leading an international art retreat. So it was really fantastic. Talk about joy, like being in it, to be living your passion and having this new experience with it. So I feel truly blessed to have had that opportunity. But more than the art itself and the community that was created around it, one of my biggest takeaways was the French joie de vivre. There's a joy of living. Joy of living. And I'm going to tell you, they take it a further step. It's not just a saying, right? Like sometimes you say, oh, c'est la vie, right? Like, oh, that's life, right? But le joie de vivre, it is a philosophy of living in exuberant joyfulness of life. Exuberant joyfulness. Is that our culture here? Perhaps we're missing it a little bit, yeah? Yeah. And so it came across to me when I was there how much we've been missing joy in our lives. And I feel like a pretty joyful person, but when I saw people walking around like in their best wear, like to go to the market and to pick the fresh food from the market that they're going to go home and prepare their dinner, which, by the way, dinner is a thing in France. Dinner is a thing that lasts multiple hours, and it is carefully prepared. Our idea of like eating a bag of popcorn, not that I've ever done that, but calling that a meal, they would not do that, right? Because what joy is there in opening a bag of popcorn? Well, I mean, there's some, but it's this joy of life, from dress to food to how they express. The family that I happened to be staying in the home next to theirs, they had company in from out of town. And so they had lots of little kids like running out in the street. And I mean, like I was country, rural France. So there was no like fear of these children were going to be hit by an oncoming car unless if it was, from their parents leaving or something. But so they're just running out in the street. The windows are open, the doors are open, there's cats everywhere. If you love cats as much as me, that added to the joy. Yeah, cat lovers in the room, okay. And every night they would have these meals, and you could hear them, just the laughter and the joy of connecting with one another. So I came home from this trip with several new paintings and several hundred photographs to paint from. But I also came home with this sense of desire to incorporate this joie de vivre philosophy into my own life. And so it's been working in me for the last several weeks. And what I've come to realize is that it's not just a philosophy, it is a spiritual practice. Practicing, consciously becoming aware of joy in your life is a spiritual practice. And that's what we're going to focus on today, if you guys are up for joy. If not, I think there's something in here on sin and damnation. No, just kidding. We don't have those in Unity, no. So we'll stick with joy. So first, this idea of joy, being the joy of everything, right? So it's not just, oh, I'm living my passion, I'm doing this. It's everything. And it's really incorporating our senses. To me, this art of joyful living inspires us to live sort of as artists do, which is this heightened sensory awareness. Because I tell you, I can't drive anywhere. I was telling Anne, I'm driving down here and I was like, ooh, all the country roads and everything. And my mind is going, plein air landscape, I could do this, right? It's seeing the beauty and the potential in everything, and that is joyful, right? Is noticing the little details. That is joyful. Savoring your food, that is joyful. Feeling, touching, right? Noticing with your senses. Does anybody ever see like a child, or maybe you were this child, you go into like a clothing store and the kid like runs through, like their hands touch everything on the racks? Yeah. When's the last time you did that? Like there becomes this time in our lives where people tell you don't touch it. All right, I'm going to give you a permission slip today. Please go touch it. Go touch it, whatever it is. If it's like, ooh, what does that feel like? Go feel it, touch it. Notice if it brings you joy or not, because that's one of the things when you start becoming aware of what creates feelings of joy within me, you'll also notice the things that do not, the experiences that do not feel joyful. The things that you've been holding on to in your home, in your lives, in your experience that do not feel joyful, but you've been holding on to them because they've always been there. But perhaps they're like sucking your joy away, right? So this practice of joy as a spiritual practice brings us more in touch with who we are. It makes us feel alive in who we are and allowing ourselves that gift. I feel like the fan is like having a Marilyn moment here. I'm going to turn that. So as I began sort of incorporating this concept more into my own life, recognizing, is this joy, is this not joy, is this joy, is this not joy, touching it, feeling it. I came home and my son was just like, are we going to eat like this every night now? Because I was like, in the garden, ooh, we have zucchini now. Tonight we're going to cook with this. Like, making everything fresh. It lasted like 5 days. And I was like, okay, back to reality. But to incorporate that more into my life, like recognizing where can I create joy, it also created this awareness of why haven't I been doing this my whole life? Right? Why do we not allow ourselves to live every moment, touching it, feeling it, smelling all the flowers that we pass? And I think there's two things behind this. One is our culture. Because our typical culture that we live in here is about doing. It is about productivity. It is about measurability. Measuring your time, is that worthy of your time? Do you then feel unworthy if your time, how you're doing things, is not measured well by others? So in a culture of doing, it's really hard to sometimes be. Can you imagine just like walking through your daily life as it exists right now? Like pick a Monday, look at what your Monday normally looks like, right? And I want you to picture everything that passes you that you stop and you're like, ooh, oh. When's the last time you looked at that chandelier? Like, that's fantastic, right? Like, but if I did that like here, right? And then I go outside and, oh my gosh, stop to smell every single flower. What does it smell like? Look at it up close. What is this like? Imagine the response from the people in your life if you spent your Monday fully engaging every single one of your senses. Probably like my son, they'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool, but are we going to do this every day, right? It would start perhaps in us to make us question, am I worthy of allowing myself this amount of joy in a culture that doesn't value joy above all other things? So that's one, culture. Two is fear, because the answer is, heck yeah, you do deserve that level of joy. But we fear what other people might say or perceive about us, because how many of you want to be perceived as selfish? Of lollygagging, of holding others up, of not getting your work done, right? So we start questioning and fearing, but if I lived like that, they're going to judge me. But when we turn it on its head and we say, this is a spiritual practice, right? Just as we are invited to pray without ceasing, I'm going to invite you to joy without ceasing. But that doesn't mean that you don't also get the other things done in your life. Just as prayer without ceasing doesn't mean you sit and meditate on a mountaintop the rest of your life. It means remembering God in every aspect of your life, in all things that you do. And so inviting joy through the senses, through living your life, is a spiritual practice. And we can do that and find joy in every little moment. So we still walk through our day We still get the things done. We still engage with other people. We're still conscious of them, compassionate of them. We're not just like, I'm just going to do what makes me happy and I don't care about you, right? We're incorporating this love for one another into our joyful experiences and noticing the joy and creating more opportunity for joy, because we know thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So if we are holding thoughts of joy, we shall create more joy in our lives. I love the teachings of Jesus. I see Jesus as my personal way shower. And I know there are some people out in the world who have a hard time reconciling their perhaps past experiences with other churches or with teachings that were put across in a way that made them feel less than in some way. And so I want to pull out, I think, one of the core teachings of Christ that we sometimes forget. And that is that above all, Jesus taught us to love one another. To love one another. And so if we are putting that first, the joy naturally comes in there as well. In the book of John, Jesus says, "If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have spoken these things to you." Commandment to love. I've spoken this to you, that you may remain, that my joy may remain in you, and your joy may be made full. The greatest commandment is to love, but the ultimate result of that love is joyful living. So if you're going around smelling the flowers, noticing the beautiful colors, being aware and creating more joy in your life, maybe you want to root out everything in your closet that depletes your joy and refill it, and somebody comes along and says, "Why are you doing that? This joy doesn't feel like that's important." But it is. It is the ultimate expression of us living our Christ-led lives. It's to love one another. That includes love for ourselves. That includes love for God. And then to express as a joy out in the world. So I give you permission to express joy, to be who you have come here to be. And to recognize that each one of us is going to express joy a bit differently. Yes? I'm going to invite just a quick sample of that, right? We all have a color, maybe that is joyful to us. Maybe we say a favorite color. So on the count of 3, so wait for it, I want you just to speak your favorite color out loud. Color that maybe brings you joy. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I heard a lot of colors, right? We are a rainbow of a room. And so joy for each one of us is going to look different. And so that means love one another, means honoring that joy, honoring that unique expression in each other as well. Honoring the violet, honoring the red, honoring the purple, honoring the yellow. And knowing I don't need to change you. I don't need to change your favorite color in order for me to experience joy in my favorite color, joy in being me, but I can honor, respect, I can have that cool understanding of spirit, as we read in the daily word today. So we are, each one of us, called to express love, and through that love, we are called to be joy. I want to end today with a quote by Martha Smock, and this is from her book, Fear Not. She says, "Our bodies respond to thoughts and feelings, to our words," and I'm going to add, to our actions. The cells of our bodies are listening, are ready to respond to these words of faith and joy and life. Affirmations of truth are powerful reminders of us to the great potential in us for joyous, healthy, successful living. So live your joy and live in to your own joyous, healthy, successful life. So it is.
Now I would like to invite you. We're going to bless our children. So, children, you are a perfect child of God, and God and I love you just the way you are. Now I'll invite you all to stand, and we'll gather in our circle and do our peace song and then our prayer of protection.